provincial government, are they going to play any role in the movement here? Because we are Black English speaking in Quebec, and we know that might provide some challenges for us. I'd like to know if the provincial government at any particular time, even municipal too, will be in this movement. So the intention is yes to participate. So we have done representations in that sense, especially with the Minister of Immigration. So yes, there's an intention of doing that. However, it's important to mention that, you know, the Quebec landscape is different than the rest of Canada. In the rest of Canada, they are ready for the Black discourse, the Black speech, saying that we're going to create and work towards creating specific resources for the Black community. Here in Quebec, although we're going to get there, but right now we're more in a sense where how can we create resources for people from a diverse background? So it's more large, it's broader. So they're not yet ready for the discourse, the Black speech, right? So based on that, it doesn't mean that we're not working towards bringing resources from the provincial government here in Quebec, and we're doing the same work in other provinces as well with our national partners as well. So yes, to answer your question, yes, it's in the works, but nothing has been confirmed yet. But we want to be able to give those updates to the community, and we want to make sure that we receive also updates from the community and what's happening on the ground in your respective networks to make sure that we utilize that information and bring it actually, and make sure that at the end of the day, we create resources that are the more pertinent possible to serve the Black community across Canada.
The grants will go to 2025, and the programs have to become sustainable. What is your or the government or whoever's given the funding, what's their definition of sustainability? How do they, I guess, rank or grade an organization and say that they don't need our help anymore, or they're sustainable now? Do you know the criteria?
So there's some criteria that exist, but in terms of rendering those initiatives sustainable on our side, the idea we go with the first premise that we don't need government money to be able to continue activities. So for us, that's how we come to be self-sustainable. Although we're going to continue representation and get investments beyond 2030, but we want to come to a point in 2030 where if we want to, we say, okay, we don't need your money, government. We're able to create our research. We do it on our own.
So I've noticed that Groupe 3037 has paid special attention, and we appreciate that as a minority, and a minority as an English-speaking Black-led organization. And when giving grants, etc., you've really dedicated a percentage to, you know, our organization so that we wouldn't be lost in the great sea of, because we understand, you know, our landscape here in Quebec. With your, you know, the initiatives going forward, will that also be considered?
First step is to work macro and create macro resources to make sure that those macro resources are distributed to either entrepreneurs but also to non-for-profit organizations. And what's amazing in those non-for-profit organizations, like you mentioned, there's non-for-profit organization that is serving the Black Anglophone community, for example, here. So at the end of the day, by creating and confirming those resources high level and distribute it to your organization, there's organization that serves the Black Anglophone, there's organization that serve the African community, there's organization that serve the Jamaican community. And it's through your organization that we're able to solidify your, per se, community in the Black community.
So my question is, like, I think it might be interesting for the people here. Like, how do you like work with this organization? Like, for example, if I go see Africa Center, I might not know that you exist, for example, and so they will actually, how they will, like, will they provide a support throughout you for all of your programs that you offer? So if I go to Africa Center, so they will refer me to you, basically, to have access to your programs.
This is a coalition. So we've worked in synergy with those organizations to be able to confirm those important resources on the entrepreneurship for the Black community. And when we talk about working in synergy,
we're really looking, same thing as SBCCI, working as one unit, as one to be able to provide those important loans to support Black entrepreneurs. So the coalition is the FACE coalition. And again, it's been amazing. We have started as 5 individual organizations, and now we are functioning as one unit. And in terms of functioning as one unit, here, Groupe 3737, in terms of that coalition, we're the partner from Quebec. If we talk about Africa Center, it's the partner in the western side of Canada. BBI, Black Business Initiative, is the partner in the Atlantic. And then there's the Black Business and Professional Association in Toronto. And finally, there's also here in Quebec, and again, it started in the sense that we wanted to make sure that the Black Anglophones are really considered into that initiative. There's the Côte des Neiges Black Community Association that is part as well of this coalition. When there's an issue, when there's an element that touches the western side of Canada, as you properly outlined, we direct it to Africa Center, again in the context of synergy. If there's something, an organization or a French-speaking entity in Halifax that needs to be served and helped in French, they direct it to Groupe 3737, who has that French element in infrastructure. So again, thank you for the question. It's really a work in synergy, and there are referrals that are done amongst us to make sure that we adequately serve our community. And that's the way, it's what I call the ecosystemic approach. We work as an ecosystem, as synergy, and in collaboration to make sure to deliver the services accordingly.
For those of us who are, lone wolf entrepreneurs, do you have somewhere where we can go and read by ourselves how to go from step A to step Z? That's the first thing. Second thing is, once we decide to engage, do you have the resources that can work with us and sort of like handhold from the process, through the process, because obviously it's not as straightforward as most people would like to think it is, from what I've heard. And the third question is...
You'll have to come back to the first, because I forgot the first now. We are able to put together some sort of structure for the next year. When I say structure, I outline kind of the process, but we're going to put together some material to be able to help in the engagement phase. When we have our meetings, we have our discussions, there's, for example, one-pagers, there's going to be, newsletters, there's going to be calls as well. So we're going to create a certain level of material to be able to share and start the engagement work of the community. Now, there's this sense that Groupe 3737 is this big organization that has unlimited resources. We are a non-for-profit organization. We have the same challenges that you, as well, non-for-profit have. So we don't have unlimited resources. We can attribute some resources to help out. But again, I insist in the word doing this collectively. At the end of the day, we'll try to create some minimum material, but we'll hopefully, with your network, with your engagement, hopefully you'll be able to contribute. And in synergy, in collaboration, we'll be able together to be able to share the information.
When we decide to engage or start the process, are there resources available to hold our hands through the whole process? Like, mentors or, again, help desks or help centers, that you could refer us to get that done?
I don't think we will need mentors. Although what we would need is, when we say engagement means we're going to have meetings. There's going to be, when I said earlier, more personalized meetings, and there's going to be more broad meetings. And in those meetings, the idea is to give updates on what's happening, but also to get updates from the community to be able to share that information to the appropriate stakeholders. So that's kind of the way that we see it going. And we'll have a resource available in case there's questions, there's element that was not clear in those meetings. We want to make it as simple as possible, because at the end of the day, what we want simply to share the information with the network. So if it's a matter of not understanding what information to share, we'll do our part in creating that information, creating documents to be able to share in your network. Again, we can push it to have maybe one resource available to answer any questions that comes out of those engagement meetings. But I think with those elements, I feel, unless you guys tell me otherwise, we feel that that would be sufficient to be able to do that, attain that objective of sharing accordingly the message with our collective networks, but with our individual networks. I'll be there.